So, welcome. This is Sweet Guitar Tones. I'm here with Todd Seely of
Guitar Tones.
That's right, of Bigfoot, and we're going to talk about some pretty sweet gear.
Hey.
So, if you could just take it away, just introduce yourself and
Sure.
tell us a little bit about what we're looking at.
All right. I'm Todd Seely, sometimes known as Reverend Todd. So, my main rig. This is, I've really kind of gotten rid of most of my stuff these days. I've kind of decided that at this point, once you find what you really like, no sense running around like spending money on stuff you don't need or isn't gonna.
I mean this in a good way. If you've pared down, how much was there?
There used to be a lot more. Honestly.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, but my main rig now is this. I think late 2000s Orange Rock Reverb 50 Mark II.
Yeah.
I think they're up to the Mark III now.
Yeah.
I honestly, I'm not much of like a gear. I don't want to say gear nerd, but I'm not much of like a gear aficionado in the sense that like I don't know really the difference between a Mark 1, Mark 2, and Mark 3. I just know that I grabbed this and it sounded awesome, and it came with this PPC 412, which is basically your kind of traditional orange 4x12 with 4 Celestian vintage 30s in it.
Perfect.
16 ohm cab, I believe it's 250 watt cab. One of my favorite things about this head is it sounds amazing, clean, dirty, quiet, balls out. It doesn't matter. It just sounds awesome all the time, and it's got reverb. Built-in reverb is a huge thing for me. I've gotten rid of more amps than I can imagine because they just don't have reverb. So,
Nice.
I don't drown everything out with reverb, but like I always have to have reverb when I play. Like reverb's it's just a thing. I think it just fills everything out and just makes it sound a little bit bigger.
Yep.
And kind of makes it just feel a little more whole. My main guitar these days is a 2014 Les Paul Traditional Pro 260s neck.
Okay. Talk to me about the 260 neck bar. Is that that's the measurement?
No, it's modeled after the 1960s style neck.
Gotcha. Okay.
So. One thing I didn't really know much about until late in my guitar playing career is I didn't really pay much attention to neck radius, bone nut thickness, any of this stuff, width of the neck, etc. All I cared about is whether my hand fit on it and whether the action wasn't too high.
Sure.
So, but I always wanted a Les Paul. I played dozens of them, could never find the one that I liked. Ordered some online, like used, had them shipped to me.
Yep.
Played them, couldn't stand the way they felt. And I've always wanted one because I love the way they sound, but I could never find the right one. So I was actually in a guitar store one day and I saw this one on the wall and I said, hey, can I try that out?
Yep.
Plugged it in and knew that I had to have it.
There we go. Skies opened up.
It's just, the neck is amazing. It's like butter. I love the finish. This, I think they call it Merlot. It's like a flame maple top.
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
With this beautiful red. I never used to like red either, but I love red now. The pickups on this guitar.
Yeah.
It's got a burst bucker in the bridge and a 57 Classic in the neck. These two pickups are so amazing. I don't think that I would ever change them out for anything.
And those are the ones they came with.
Yeah, these are the stock pickups, but I love them so much that I put a set in my Explorer as well.
Nice.
Yeah. This is a 76 reissue Explorer, which I played for years before I bought this.
Yep.
That was my main guitar when I was playing rock and roll for a long time. Sounds killer, plays awesome. The neck is great. The neck is almost as great as this. They're both nice and thin for a Gibson.
Yep.
A lot of people like Les Pauls because the neck is what they call chunky.
No, that baseball bat, I can't. I mean,
yeah.
I got smaller hands. I just can't do it.
Yeah. I've got small hands too, and so I've always been like a Telecaster and Stratocaster guy because the necks are thinner.
Yep.
And all that stuff. But these two Gibsons are awesome. They sound great and they play great. And I don't think I will ever get rid of either one of them.
That's
I definitely will
fantastic.
never get rid of this.
Yes.
Ever. Or this head. And this is kind of my everyday blue collar rig, and it's amazing. And I finally found this setup that I like. And one of the things that I'm really psyched about is like when the band plays a show and we do sound check or after the set. Every time we're done, the sound guy always says, "You guys, you're between and our bass player too. He's like, your tone is really dialed in." And it took a long time for me to get there,
Sure.
Before this, I had an '84 Marshall JCM 800, which I absolutely loved. I mean, quintessential like hard rock amp.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like Slash played them. I mean, everybody in the '80s played them, and it was killer. That grew wings while I was living overseas. Disappeared.
Okay. Yep.
So I had to
Find
get something else when I came back, and I bought that.
And so what led you to the orange? I mean, like I remember becoming vaguely aware of them sort of the mid 2000s, even though they've been around for a long time. I know a few local guys also play them too. But what led you to orange?
Clutch.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Nice.
Tim Salt, the guitar player from Clutch, plays them, and then a lot of these kind of like riff rock and stoner rock bands use oranges. Some of the doomier guys use matte amps, which I think are like a lot muddier.
Yeah.
Like the thing about this rock reverb is it like really cuts through.
Yes.
It's got killer crunch, but it like cuts right through everything, and it's not like super muddy. Yeah. I mean, it's really just a beautiful amp, and like I mean, every time it's a testament to the quality of the amplifier, and not a testament to my ability to play guitar when I get off stage and people say you sounded really good. There's a difference between somebody saying you sounded really good and you played really well. Those are two totally different things.
Sure. The tone is killer.
Yeah. And this thing, unfortunately, we're gonna play it at a really, really low volume, which I think may kind of mask how good it really sounds when you really crank it. Usually when I play live, I play it at about 7.
Yep.
And it's really just that's like the perfect volume, but it's too loud for this kind of thing. But even at low volumes, even at like bedroom volume, it still sounds pretty awesome.
Nice. And so we also do have, let me pan over right here just so we can talk about it real quick. We've got a Gretsch over here too.
We do.
Yeah, so smoothest pan ever. Right? That's what editing's for.
Right?
Yeah, so tell us about this Gretsch.
So this is a 66 Gretsch Rally. A 66 or I think actually 67. 67 Gretsch Rally, banana yellow. They make it for 2 years. They made it in 2 different colors only, Cadillac green and this. This guitar actually has a really interesting story.
Okay.
And it's worth telling. So
please do. When
I was 19, I walked into Earcraft in Dover, which was when they were on 4th Street. Which was long.
That's before my time.
Long ago. And they had this, and I was really into kind of like the rockabilly and punkabilly stuff. And all that stuff. And I really wanted a Gretsch, and they had this Gretsch hanging on the wall, and I played it for like an hour, and I loved it. I was like, oh, this guitar is so cool. And it's not like, I guess in the kind of lexicon of Gretches, it was kind of considered an entry level Gretsch. But it played great, and it sounded cool, and it looked the balls, and I really, really wanted it. But I was 19 and was making $5 an hour.
Sure.
Couldn't afford it.
Yep.
So I let it go, and I didn't buy it. And but I remember that there was this mark on the back of the neck. And I mean, I didn't remember the serial number or anything, but I remember there was this one chip in the paint on the back of the neck. Because I kept feeling it when I was playing it.
Yeah.
And like 2 years later, I moved out to Portland, Oregon. And I walked into this guitar store in Portland, Oregon, and there was this banana yellow Gretsch Rally hanging up.
No way.
And I said, hey, can I see that? And I pulled it down, and I started playing it, and I looked at the neck, and that same little scratch was on the back of the neck. And I said, where did this guitar come from? And he said it came from the Guitar Expo in, like, Dallas or something.
Okay.
And I remember the guy at Earcraft saying if he didn't sell it, he was going to take it to the expo in Dallas. So I was like, holy shit, this is the same
followed you
guitar.
across the country.
Yeah, I was like, this guitar, like, I was meant to buy this guitar.
Totally.
And at that point, I was still a minimum wage guy, but I was making a little bit more money, and I had some money in the bank, and I put this on layaway and paid it off in 3 months and took it home.
That's awesome.
And I've had it ever since. And this guitar actually, this guitar has seen a lot of, blood, sweat, and beers on it. It toured Europe with the Bruisers in like '97.
That's
cool.
So
it played a lot of punk rock shows in like, I don't know, like 7-8 countries. And
that's great.
Yeah, it has never let me down. I don't really play it much anymore. I play it around the house, but because I play such loud stuff right now, because it's a genuine, real hollow body, it's really hard for me to kind of contain the feedback. I know a lot of other Gretsch players know the tricks and they know what to do, and maybe they have it dialed in a certain way or they have the amps dialed in a certain way, but I'm not that technically savvy with my playing. I just like to plug in and play.
Sure.
I just want to play rock and roll. If it sounds good, then I'm into it.
When you don't want to go through all the experiments of like how many Kleenexes can I stuff in there.
Exactly.
And then you have to like get them out eventually.
Yeah. But this thing does sound. I mean, when you play it through like a Marshall or an Orange, it does sound mean if you can kind of control it. She's wild,
Yeah. That's awesome.
But it's a really, really cool instrument, and every once in a while I think about selling it, but then I remember like kind of the serendipitous nature of our reunion.
Yeah.
And our relationship, and
I think a lot of players too have that guitar that like there's some that it's no problem to sell this one if I need money or if I want to reinvest in the next thing. But then there's ones whether it was your first or somebody like gave it to you or gave you a good deal, you feel weird about letting it go.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a really cool story though.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's a good guitar.
Well, hey, let's. I know we were talking about how it's not a ton of pedals here, but we do have some things. So let's take us through that.
Yeah, we got a few things. My pedal board is super basic, and this is probably the most complicated pedal board I've ever owned. Honestly, it's the first time I've ever actually had a power supply.
Yep.
Which is a Riftone M80. Because I have enough. I typically used to just be a wah pedal, and it was usually a Dunlop Crybaby with a 9-volt in it, and then straight to my head, and that was it. Wow. But as I've gotten older and kind of taken this a little more seriously, the old Boss NS2 noise suppressor is really a good addition to your pedal board. It keeps the noise down, it keeps the fuzz down. It helps your guitar really kind of cut through. It eliminates like nasty feedback.
And I'm not as familiar with a noise suppressor, so where is that in your chain?
That is the last thing in my chain. So that's
okay.
And I know, again, like I'm not super technically savvy about this stuff. I know that I've read articles that where you place your pedals and what order makes a difference.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I would think that a noise suppressor, though, and this is my also sort of amateur or not less informed, I guess, or less tech savvy view. My final thing is a boost. Mm-hmm. They're both things designed to kind of finish off your tone. Right. So that makes sense.
For me, I line these up in order of convenience because this is on all the time.
Yep.
And this is what I use the most. So
that makes sense.
But going in that order, the noise suppression, then a Polytune 2 from TC Electronic. It's a great tuner. It's super small. It works really well. It's really accurate. So that's kind of a necessity these days.
Oh yeah.
I do have this thing. I think it's called a Moor, Mooer. It's an octave pedal.
Nice.
It's made in Australia. Another little guy. But it's got multiple massive amounts of settings, and I basically only use one.
Yeah. What do you use it for?
It's basically, this is an octave. It gives me, the way I have it set right now, it gives me one octave above and one octave below the note that I'm playing. And I use it really sporadically, but there are a couple of songs that Bigfoot plays where I use it just to kind of give it like a weird kind of spacey feel.
Okay.
Because we're kind of like a riffy stoner type band. So
yeah.
Every once in a while when we play kind of these more kind of epic, bigger sounding things, I use it to kind of fill it out and make it seem a little doomier and all of that stuff. But I have it dialed in so that the lower octave is a little more prominent than the high octave.
Okay.
But basically it's giving you 3 octaves at once.
Yep.
Which is really cool. And there are tons of different settings where you can get it like super spacey and super weird, or give you just a standard like 1 octave below or 1 octave up.
That's really cool too because it's all very project dependent because it totally makes sense to use it this way. A guy I was talking to the other day uses their octave pedal to sound like a 12-string when convenient. So just a little bit of the 1 octave lower and more of the higher. So it's really cool to see him used in different ways.
Yeah, and then you got people like guys like Jack White that use those Pogs.
Yep.
Which are like, I think Tom Morello from Rage Against the Machine used to use something like that too, but he
used
like
everything.
super high stuff. It sounded like he was playing like a 36 fret neck. But like, for me, I use it in a couple songs, a couple times, just to kind of a little bit of a departure, just keep things interesting, keep people engaged. So everything doesn't sound the same.
Yep.
Next is your classic MXR Phase 90, made famous by Eddie Van Halen.
Yep.
This is a reissue. I used to have an original one from the 70s, which, I also had 3 original Tube Screamers and 3 original Rats. And sold when I was young for $5 because they weren't worth anything then, but
Sure.
But it sounds, again, people say, well, if you get the script version, it's true bypass and all this stuff and it makes a difference. Maybe it does. I don't hear it.
Yep.
Like I said, I just play it if it sounds cool.
Yeah, it works. It works.
Yeah. But the big thing for me is the full tone Clyde, and I think this is a Clyde Deluxe. This is, in my opinion, the best wah pedal ever made.
Okay.
I used Dunlop Crybabies, like the original ones, for years, and I would wear them out in 3 months.
Really? Okay.
The Clyde has 3 different types of wah settings and an independent volume control, and the wah sweep on a Clyde is really smooth.
Yeah.
And you can play it really slow or really fast, and it doesn't have that. You can't hear the pots inside. and it's just got a really cool wah sound, like better than anything I've ever heard. I've seen a few years ago. I saw a bunch of bands play, and like a bunch of different guys were using the Clyde, and I was like, that is a really rad pedal.
So how do you switch between the 3 different tones?
It's basically a hand switch right here.
Oh, okay.
So you've got whack, and you've got Jimmy, and then you've got shaft. So essentially, I keep it on the Jimmy one because
makes sense.
Jimmy's
right.
kind of my guy.
Yep.
Not gonna lie, he's the reason why I bought a Stratocaster when I was 19.
Yeah. Kelly.
But he's but it's, and the volume control, it's nice because you can set it so that when you're playing a solo, it cuts through nicely. You can give it a little bit of boost. Because one thing that I don't use is I don't use any overdrive or any boost pedals, and I haven't for the last probably 15 or 20 years. My philosophy is, and a lot of people disagree with this, but this is just my thing. Like, my philosophy is, if you've got the right head for what you're doing, you don't need a boost, you don't need an overdrive. I mean, so for me, it's like, all the distortion I get is straight head. It's like straight from the amp. I see guys with like 5 different boost and overdrive pedals, and quite frankly, when I hear them play live, I can't hear a difference between them. Okay. Most of the time, maybe it's just my ears, but for me, I just want to keep it simple. I don't want to worry about all this different stuff, and I don't want to overthink things, because if I start overthinking things when I play, then I go off the rails.
Yeah, you're out of the moment.
Yeah, and it's just like and so for me, I just want to like just do my thing,
Cool.
So
how about the head control right there? What kind? I see we've got 2 switches there.
All right, so you got dirty and clean channel, and just your power and standby. I pretty much always, it's got a foot switch, so you got channel switching right here. So I just leave it on the dirty channel as my main channel, and I can turn it on and off here. Yep. Clean channel's basically just got treble, middle, and bass, and a volume, and then dirty channel's got volume, treble, middle and bass, and then gain, which gain is dimed always for me. Sure. I mean, I love distortion. I love crunch, and this thing definitely has it.
Nice.
But it's got killer cleans too. Like, this Les Paul sounds amazing clean. Especially the neck pickup is like butter on this.
Nice.
On this thing, it's awesome.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah.
And so I know the Gretsch is a guitar that you've had for a long time, and sentimentally, it's likely to stay with you. Yep. You've had the Explorer a long time. The Les Paul is the main thing. Like, when does the Explorer come out?
The Explorer comes out, if we play, like, let's say we play like 4 gigs. Yeah. That'll come out on like the 3rd gig, and then go back in the case. Like, we played a three night in a row weekend 2 weekends ago, and actually I played this one Thursday, Friday, and that one on Saturday. And it's cool because, like, when I played that one on Saturday, I was like, wow, I really love this guitar. Like, I forgot how much I love playing this guitar. Yep. And it's nice. So it's technically a backup, but it's a very viable and useful backup, and it's super fun to play. And I mean, it's kind of a classic shape. It's cool. It's a rock and roll guitar.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It's a little bit of a one-trick pony, but that's why I play it. That's what it's there for.
Well, cool.
Yeah.
So we've talked a little bit about the gear, but it would be great to hear some of it. Sure. So if you wouldn't mind, I'll just kind of let you do your thing. We've got the camera on the pedals, so don't worry about kind of narrating what you're doing. But if you wouldn't mind kind of playing through a few different things, sure, that'd be great.
Absolutely. Maybe I ought to tune it. It's funny, like, when I got here, it was totally in tune, and then I decided to retune it, and now she's getting cranky.
Oh, that's all right. Like you had warned me, it's a little warm up here.
Yeah,
We're in that kind of in-between. It was nice today. It's going to get cold tonight, weather, so.
Yeah, this weather sucked lately. I'm getting tired of it. I ride bicycles a lot, and, like, it's been really, really awful bike weather.
Yeah, especially because if you want to be able to figure out what you're going to wear for, like, the whole day.
Right.
Like, the ride to work is very different from the ride home. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, and I don't do short rides. All right, so, neck pickup clean. Oh, that was a bridge pickup.
That is nice.
your octave.
Oh yeah.
It sounds really cool when you switch the channels.
And so, do you do a lot with the tone controls on the guitar itself?
Never.
Yeah, same here. I just said it too.
Never.
Every now and then, I want to ask just to see if someone else is doing something with it.
No, I mean I see guys like, and I'm just like, yeah, I get confused.
Fair enough.
Whereas I'm bragging about the Clyde, it's actually got a little bit of. But it's, I mean, you can really kind of hear. It's a really cool wah. Like,
Well, and actually, just watching it, it's very fluid.
Yeah,
in the
exactly.
motion. It seems like it almost has a little bit more range than the Crybaby usually does.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so too. One thing that's amazing about this guitar and the amp combo, it's kind of a Spinal Tap thing, but like it sustains for days.
Yeah.
Like you can hold a note like forever, which is super fun to do live. Like you can manipulate your feedback really well.
Sure.
Yeah, it's hard to demonstrate with this volume, but it's.
Well, I was just gonna say,
fun.
like you were talking about, we're playing at bedroom volume right now, but it still sounds killer.
It does, absolutely, and the neck pickup is awesome.
Yeah, that's great.
So like,
Yeah, there we go.
there's this one song called "Let It Burn," and I use the octave in that because it goes. I don't actually use the phase all that much either, but you know, in a couple songs, like we have a song that we're actually trying to shoot a video for. It's called Hammer Down, and the intro's. It kind of, you know, fills it up, makes it a little bit different, you know.
Absolutely.
Gotta mix it up a little bit.
I was just thinking with the octave pedal too, it almost gives like a cool, almost droning drive. To that riff. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, that song actually, it's one of our kind of like big epic songs. It's like 7 minutes long.
Nice.
But it's fun. So
that's cool.
Yeah, I mean, pretty straightforward, but sounds killer. Great guitar. Nice. You know, the guitar and the amp make me sound probably better than I am, so it's cool, you know.
Well, hey, you're the one that put it all together. There's a couple things that we haven't talked about, though. There's the other orange rig, and you referenced the strap, but we haven't really talked about that yet. So if you wouldn't mind just like holding on to it.
No, not at all. Absolutely.
Yeah, tell us about that.
Actually, you know what would be kind of fun?
Yeah.
You mind on this?
Yeah.
I have never actually played this strap through this amp.
All right. Let's do an experiment.
So let's see how it sounds.
Yeah.
And I actually, the Les Paul and the Explorer are tuned in C standard.
Okay.
Wow, this thing is so much lighter than the Les Paul.
Yeah, that'll happen.
And I keep the Strat and the Gretsch kind of tuned in standard E tuning.
Yep.
So yeah, I've never actually played this thing through this, so it might be cool. It might sound like ass. I don't know. We'll see.
We're about to find out.
I doubt it because it is a '92 American Standard Strat. So.
And so. Again, just clarity on the tuning. So C standard being...
So it's standard tuning. A lot of people play in like, I guess they call it drop C, where it's like playing in like a drop D, so you can play your power chords with one finger. So I play on my bar chords standard standard fingering.
Yep.
Because I get confused if I don't. So.
Sure. So everything. So instead of it even being a D, it's down to C.
Yeah, it's down to C. So it's pretty low, but
so standard just being the fingerings are all the same, but instead of any. Okay, gotcha.
So this is clearly not as high output a guitar.
Yep. Oh, clearly, yeah.
But I guess with the distortion on with that channel, it's okay. Sounds all right.
Yeah. Well, there's your Jimmy influence right there.
Right?
Feel it. Nice.
Yeah, even at this volume.
And that's a standard pickup setup, right? So you're on neck right now, or is it?
Yeah, it's on neck right now, and actually, so this is a '91 American Standard Strat, which I got brand new.
Yep.
You can see the amazing buckle rash from
there we go.
the years of playing it.
Yep.
And this actually toured Europe once as well in '92.
Nice.
Yeah. It's
same Bruisers project.
Yep. With the Bruisers as well. I changed out the original pickups for vintage noiseless because these single coils had a really bad hum and it was driving me crazy.
Sure.
And I used to play through a Mesa Blue Angel head, which did not have built-in overdrive. And so it was just wicked hummy. So I got these, and the hum is better, but it's still a single coil. So,
Yep.
you know, like,
You
you still get
still
some
have a
hum, but it's way better with the vintage noiseless. I'm a big fan of these pickups, actually. Sounds good.
Yeah, it does. It does.
See, now I'm falling in love with this guitar all over again.
Perfect. That's why we're doing this.
Right? Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah. This has made me had another thought though. So you've got the Les Paul and the Explorer in the C standard.
Yeah.
So I imagine that's less tension on the whole unit. Does that
Yeah.
Does that change sort of your maintenance requirements on it? Or?
No, but it certainly changes your string requirements. So like that on the Les Paul and the Explorer, I play NYXLs. I think they're like 50. I think the bottom was like a 56.
Yep.
And like when I'm playing like standard E tuning, the bottom was like a 42.
Okay.
It's like 42 and a 9.5, and it's like 56 and 11.
Okay.
And I always the trick. Listen, youngsters, the trick with playing C standard is when you buy a set of strings, this, what is this, the D string, I think? This one
Okay,
here?
yeah, you want wound thirds?
Yeah.
Yep.
You got to put a wound on, otherwise it will not stay in tune.
Gotcha.
Absolutely won't do it.
I've got a buddy that bought my Telecaster off of me, and he's got giant hands, and he's been playing with like basically bridge cables. He had me.
Yeah.
So like he bought it off me, and I sent it down to him in Rhode Island, and I was like, how do you want me to have it set up for you? He's like, put 14s on it. I was like, are you kidding me? But he kept him on for, I think, like 2 years. And then
Really?
I think he finally went like, all right, we're going to go down a little bit.
Wow,
But
14s, that would kill.
I couldn't do
Brutal.
it. Yeah. No, I play pretty standard 10s.
Yeah.
But okay, well, that makes sense then with the heavier gauge
Yeah.
strings. Cool.
I mean, it's the same pick for everything, Dunlop .88.
Nice.
Been using it for years.
So far, everybody, you're the third one of these. Everyone's been on Dunlop for pickups.
Yeah, man.
For picks, excuse me.
Yeah, they're the best, man. Like, yeah, I love them.
Nice.
You know, a lot of the other picks, they break too easily. These you can play them forever. I mean, I actually tend to probably play them way longer than I should. You can see, like on this one, this one's in my Strat. This one's brand new, but you'll see the other ones are
Got the full bend in them.
pretty
Oh,
worn
yeah.
out.
Yep.
And they have a lot of teeth marks in them, you know, but
Sure.
yeah.
So, the white orange.
Yes.
Tell us about that.
So that is a relatively new addition.
Yeah, it's in the Frank store.
It's a Thunderbird 200. I got it basically because I didn't need it, but I wanted it.
Fair.
But I justified it by saying, well, if this thing ever shit the bed or like if it had a blowout,
Yep.
it's great to have a second orange. And I thought about just getting another Rockerbird 50, but I was like, well, it's a Thunderbird. Thunderbird was a cool name.
Totally.
It's a 200 watt head, which is pretty cool.
Yep.
And it's white, which looks really rad.
Yeah.
So I bought it. And then I said, well, I need another 4x12. So,
Just for backup.
Exactly.
Right.
So I actually literally searched for a white Tolex 4x12 because I wanted something in white to match the head. Kind of geeked out about it. So I found this Reinhardt. Now I didn't know anything about Reinhardt, but he's kind of like a Friedman type of guy. He used to make heads and cabs. He doesn't do it anymore, but he made really boutique-y stuff.
Okay.
I got this speaker. I mail ordered it from a Guitar Center store down south. They said it was an 8-ohm cab, and they said it had vintage 30s in it. It showed up, and it was a 16-ohm cab with only 2 vintage 30s in it. This head, if you're playing all 200 watts, there's a switcher in the back. If you're playing all 200 watts, you have to have 8 ohms. You can't use 16 ohms.
Gotcha.
So I was like, well, that kind of defeats the purpose of having a 200 watt head.
Right.
So I gutted it, and then I bought 2. I went on Eminence's website, and I bought 2 Governors and 2 Wizards,
Okay.
which are their kind of like classic British rock speakers, and I crisscrossed and made the kind of standard X pattern. I actually one of the few times I actually really kind of did my homework and did some research on on speaker setup and
Yep.
all that stuff. So I wired them in a crisscross pattern and wired them up to 8 ohms and plugged it in. So now I got a matching cool white head and cab. And for a while I was A-B'ing them, and I hooked up an A-B box and I played them both together, which is super huge and super loud. But and I still have lots of hope for this, and I do love it, but I don't love it as much as that.
Yeah.
It's a little more metal sounding.
Okay.
It's got a lot more fuzz. It's more of like a kind of a Slayer type of metal.
So it's more harsh.
Yeah, it's more like a new metal, like real metal versus like kind of rock and roll sound.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a little bit tinier. It doesn't have that. It just doesn't breathe. It's not as full. Together they sound really cool. I've played a couple of gigs with them. With a full stack with 2 heads, which looks amazing and sounds cool as hell, but it's a lot of stuff to move around.
It's a lot of work. Yeah.
Yeah. And both these cabs are on wheels, so I got to put them on their sides. Otherwise, it's gigantic. Like I could be crushed to death in some kind of horrible rock and roll accident.
Which is no fun.
Right. But I love it, and it is a great backup. Like if anything happens to this, and I have a full half stack that I can use at a moment's notice, and it certainly sounds good. I mean, I would compare that to it sounds like a JCM 900.
Okay.
And that's, this is more like a JCM 800, this is more like a 900. So more of a kind of a new school metal sound versus kind of a more traditional,
classic.
straight up classic rock and roll sound.
So we talked about a few things whether it's wiring out speakers or it's replacing pickups. So are you in there soldering, doing all the work yourself?
Not often.
Yeah, fair. Me either.
I've done it in the past, and I mean that strap. No, this is, I used to muck around with this thing a lot. And then I made some very bad mistakes, but I was really young and I had to have, I had to pay way too much money to get it fixed and done right. These days, as much as I like to consider myself a DIY guy, it was really cool to do this, wire up this cab and all this stuff myself. But with guitar work, like setup stuff, fret work, intonation, truss rod adjustments, I leave it to people that know what they're doing. Sure. Because I don't. And it's cool to experiment and learn that, but I'm busy with a lot of other things in my life as well, and doing all kinds of things, and
So you stick with the things that are more science and less art.
Yeah. So when it comes to getting guitar set up, I just I take it usually I take it to Ralph's. Here in Dover, and perfect. And they do a great job, and I get it back, and it plays great, and he's not super expensive, and he gets it back to me in a week, and I'm happy. I mean he's basically set up all 4 of these guitars at least once, probably twice. Nice. Yeah, every time I buy a guitar, and if there's something that needs tweaking, I just bring it to him, and they make it right. So perfect. Yeah, I mean, for me, it's worth the money to pay somebody than to have me spend all this time trying to do it right, and the whole trial and error process where people who are professionals who do this for a living, God bless them, let them do it. Yeah, it's fine with me.
Fair. Well, cool. So we've covered a lot of ground, but was there anything, so when I reached out to you about doing this, was there anything that you wanted to talk about that we haven't yet?
I don't think so. I'm just, I'm flattered that you reached out to me. It's cool. I appreciate it, Right. It's fun to kind of share this stuff and talk about it, and I don't talk about it much with a lot of people. Most people kind of don't really want to listen about it. They just want to listen to it, Sure. But it's cool. I mean, for me, it's not complex. It's pretty straightforward. If it sounds good and if it works for me, then that's kind of how I roll with it. Perfect. Yeah.
All right. Well, hey, thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Looking forward to it.
Thanks so much. Yeah, me too. Appreciate it. Cheers.